Hey, everybody. Shawn here. Time for another mentor session. So let's get this thing started. To remind you, as always, after I get done answering your question, we're going to go ahead and upload or download this video and upload it to YouTube. And then my assistant is going to send you an email with a link directly to where I am answering your question in the actual session. So you don't have to watch the whole session. And then in that email, I'll also let you know what other mentors are going to answer that question. And then each time one of the mentors answers that question for you throughout the month, you'll get another email with a link to them answering your question. Okay, so let's get this thing started. The first question comes from Ashley, and Ashley says, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come off as spammy? The background is I own a residential and commercial cleaning company, and over the last year I've been developing a master list of home builders and their construction and new build locations in my area. I want to start reaching out to them and offering my services and secure my spot on their bid list. Awesome, Ashley. So this is fantastic. You know, one of the most important things that we can do in preparation of reaching out to clients is that, first off, it's fantastic that you know who your ideal client is you want to go after. That's fantastic. The next thing you want to do is you want to figure out what that sales process is going to be. So in your situation, it sounds like you're going to actually call them to set up an appointment, to meet with them face-to-face, to introduce your services, maybe do a presentation, and then see where the rest of the sales process goes, right? If it were me, and this is what professional salespeople do, and this is really important, and a lot of people skip this step. It's really important to put together a phone approach sales script so that you know exactly what you're going to say when you call the person up. You know, hi, my name is Shawn Thomas. I'm calling from Accelerators Organization. I'm looking to speak with Brad. Hey, Brad, Shawn Thomas with Accelerators Organization. Do you have a quick second? There's a reason that in a sales call like that I want to ask if they have a quick second instead of going right into my pitch. All of these types of sales strategies are why going through sales training is really important. And I can't go through all of the sales training with you here on this session, but in the AO portal, there's 11 hours of sales training from Tom Black, our sales coach. Go through all that training, and then if and when you need some help creating your scripts, Tom can help you with that. Okay, but you want to create sales scripts, phone approach scripts, so that you know what you're going to say and how you're going to get the appointment. Okay, and there's techniques and strategies you can use. Then once you meet with the person face to face, you're going to learn in the sales process that the first thing you want to do is establish trust and create a rapport with the client instead of just going straight in and start talking about your services. This is a very important step of the sales process, and Tom goes over this in that training in the AO portal. So you say, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come across spammy? This is part of sales. Now, I want to talk to you about something about this as well, because when we start a new company sometimes, if we don't have a sales background, we know how to provide our service, and we put time and energy in learning how to provide our service. So if you're a residential or commercial cleaning business, you know what chemicals to use and what chemicals to avoid, what products to use, what products to avoid, and why. You know how to clean out and sanitize every speck of the room and what's important on the floor, different surfaces, and you put time and energy to learn everything there is about providing your service to your clients, right? That takes time, and that takes research, and that takes development, right? It's the same thing with sales. Sales is a skill that must be developed in the same way that you're developing your skills to provide your service. One of the things that you can do is get good enough at sales because you know your service so well and you've got a reputation out there that you can go out there, and even though you might not be the best salesperson, you can get the job done because of your charisma and you're the owner of the company. But at some point, as our companies look to grow, we want to hire salespeople who know how to sell, and then we teach them about our product or service, where to find leads, and then let them turn them loose and let them go make sales because they've been trained and they know how to sell. So this is really important, and I think it's great that you're going to take on this role. And if you're going to take on this role, then it's really important for you to get some sales training if you've never had sales training. I'm kind of guessing you haven't had sales training because you're asking this question, right? So that's what I would recommend is develop scripts for your phone approach, develop scripts that you're going to follow to establish rapport and create trust in your sales presentation, know how to ask questions of your client, know when to start bridging it into how to offer your service, talk about your service, present it, and then of course, you're going to get objections. Not everybody's just going to sign up right away. They're going to say, maybe you're too expensive. Let me think about it. Let me talk to my partner. Let me talk to my wife. Let me talk to my husband. Let me talk to somebody else on my team. And there are scripts that we want to develop to overcome all of those objections that are going to happen in the sales process. Sales is a very complicated skill that must be developed just like any other skill that you've used to start your business, all right? And in the AO portal, you've got that online sales training, 11 hours. In the resource center, you've got dozens and dozens of articles on selling and how to be a good salesperson and things to do in the sales process. Go through those articles. As you start to go through all that, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Also, if you ever want to get to a situation where you want to hire Tom as a coach and you want some one-on-one sales coaching for your business because you want to really be able to increase your close rates, to increase your profits and revenues, let me know and I can introduce you to Tom directly. I know he does some sales coaching for companies as well. Okay? Hope that helps, Ashley. Okay, the next question comes from Brad. And Brad says, do you think it's important to have a face behind the brand? The background is, I own a luxury e-commerce brand, and I want to know if it's important to have a face behind the brand, meaning behind-the-scene videos, introductions, etc., so your customer knows who they're buying from. I don't plan on staying anonymous, but right now I am still small, and I don't have a lot to show behind the scenes that I want shown. Thank you. You know, in an e-commerce, fashion, jewelry, skincare possibly, it's becoming more and more prevalent here in 2021 that a lot of consumers want to connect with the brand in which they're purchasing products or services from. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the brand has to have a face, a person like myself, but the brand should have a great brand story, the visualization elements as far as the logo, the primary and secondary color palettes, the types of font you choose, the layout and themes of your website, as well as the copy should all be done in your voice that talks to your audience. And your brand must have a story, something that's going to make your audience and your customers connect with you. Fashion, people really like to connect with their types of clothing and attire that they wear. Whether it's you or you bring in an influencer to represent your brand or a brand ambassador or something like that, I do believe that people want to buy into the story of the brand, and that will help you convert sales. I hope that answers your question, Brad. There's a lot of different things going on in the behind the scenes of virtually every single company. And it's up to you to pick and choose the things that are important to help your audience and your clients connect with your brand. Okay? Thanks, man. Okay, the next question comes from Kristen. And Kristen says, should I invest money into more solid branding right now, i.e. logo, brand colors, and fonts? The background of her question is, I am a copywriter for online entrepreneurs who launch new offers and products and need marketing copy to sell. I've used a do-it-yourself logo and random fonts for the past 2 years, but want something sustainable moving forward so people recognize me right away. Kristen, I think it's fantastic that you're thinking about doing this. So here's the analogy that I like to use. You know, think about food and copy in your personal brand type business. You know, visual elementation and visual elements of your brand will allow you to increase and get higher dollars for the services you provide. So the better your brand looks and feels and is laid out and it's put together, the more you're going to be able to charge for your services. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as part of branding, is when you get into the messaging part of branding, which is your marketing of your brand, there's a part of the funnel, if you will, or the process, the strategy, and that's called brand awareness. And it takes time to build a brand, which is why it's really important that the visual elementations that we use, like you said, the logo, the colors, the font, over time, people are going to start to resonate and recognize your brand the more you get yourself in front of them. And it just takes time until there's some sort of tipping point where people just recognize and know when they see the Nike logo that, oh, that's Nike, without the word Nike even needing to be there. When people see an Apple, they think of Apple products, even though Apple is something we eat. Brand awareness takes time. And I do firmly feel that at some point of a business's cycle, depending on cash flow and availability of capital, that making a good investment in your brand identity and visual elements is very important, because it will allow you to do the things I just talked about. It will help you charge more, and it will help you with your long-term strategy of brand awareness and connection with your audience. Okay, hope that helps, Kristen. Okay, the next question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, when it comes to sales, are there any tips, techniques, or selling systems or steps that help you learn to be a better and smoother with it? The background is I am a commercial product photographer who helps product-based companies at any stage manage their photography needs for e-commerce, marketing, social media, etc. I feel like I am very choppy on the initial sales side, and I want to learn more to make it more fluid to ideally be more successful in the long run. Okay, this is a great question because in your company, Carrington, it's obvious that you're wearing multiple hats. You not only are probably the person that's going to do the marketing to get awareness of your product or service that you offer, but when that lead comes in or that outbound sales call happens, you're going to be the one taking the sales call and actually talking to people about your products and services. Then you're going to actually be the person that's providing the service. This is the quintessential freelancer, solopreneur lifestyle. And it's how we all start. I think it's very important for you to brush up on sales skills and at least have the bare minimum sales skills so that you don't feel like you're saying the wrong things, doing the wrong things, and you don't feel comfortable talking to your prospects or your customers, right? You probably talk with your customers, great, but it's during that sales process that you're lacking a little bit of confidence because you know that there's things that you don't know that you could be and should be doing. Well, just like you probably had to do a lot of training to figure out what camera to use, because there's dozens of different types of cameras that you can use, and you had to research all of them and figure out what the right camera was, right? And so you did your research, and then you had to, once you got the camera in, you probably spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours learning how to use the camera. And you're probably still learning new techniques and strategies on how to use that camera today. You then had to figure out lighting, and you had to figure out what type of lighting is available when taking product photography, right? And then you had to actually learn how to use that lighting, how to position it, what different things would do with the lighting, and that takes time. I bring this up because it's the same thing with sales. Sales is a skill that has to be developed and learned, and the more time and energy you put into learning that skill, the better you're going to get at it. And the more time and energy you actually do the actual selling, you're going to get better and better, just like you have in your business. Remember this, and I want to plant a seed for you. Ultimately, you want to build a company, right? So ultimately, our job as the owner in the beginning is to map out the sales process. If I say to myself, I want to spend the majority of my time over the next 30 days on a minimum amount of sales activities. If I commit 20 hours a week towards sales generating revenue activities, calling people, networking, emailing, all those different things, if I spend that much time, how much revenue in sales could I create on a monthly basis? And I want to track that data, and here's why. Because once you understand the data, then you can start looking at hiring a salesperson to go and do that. And you can say, well, if I was able to produce this amount of revenue in 30 days with this much time, if I hire somebody full-time to do it, then they should be able to produce this much result. And this is theory, of course. You never know until you hire somebody. But that's the ultimate goal, is to get your company to be in a cash flow position where if your expertise lies in performing the services that your clients are going to pay your company for, it's easier to hire a salesperson to go get the clients. The client comes on board, you perform the services, and you're good to go. And then eventually you'll hire an account manager, project managers, all of those types of things, and then off to the races of building a company you are. That's the seed that I want to plant in your brain today. In the short term, if you log into the AO portal, we've got a lot of different sales training for you. We've got Pro Code Sales, which is 11 hours of online sales training for you from Tom Black, our sales coach and sales mentor. It's amazing material. Go through all of it. If you have any questions as you're going through it, just shoot another question in the portal, and we'll answer it. Also in the Resource Center, there is, in the category of sales and marketing, there's a ton of articles and things like that. Go through those articles and resources and just start picking up little bits of information that you can start implementing into your sales process every single day. Just like you didn't buy your camera and immediately become an expert on knowing how to use it, and it took you time and you still learn every day, it's going to be the same thing with sales, okay? And remember, I'll leave you with this story. Let's just use Will Smith as an actor. Will Smith, when he is in a role and he gets the scripts and he sees the scripts that he's gonna do that day, he doesn't just wake up in the morning, no preparation, never read the script, show up to the set, and then go, okay, I'm ready, and look at the script, and then he just crushes it immediately, right? No. He, as a professional actor, spends hours and hours and hours reading and memorizing those lines so that when he delivers it, he not only is saying the words, but he can put the facial tics into it, expressions, the body language, everything into it to fit the part and the role. It's the same thing with sales. The more we prepare and know exactly what we're going to say, the more we can make it seem like it's conversational as opposed to a script. And that's the difference between an amateur salesperson and a master salesperson. All right, I hope that helps. Keep me posted. Okay, the next question comes from Michelle. And Michelle says, what are the most important pieces that you must have implemented in your business before making your first hire? Is a company handbook needed before the first hire? What else would be necessary? The background is I own a holiday wedding and event lighting company. I'm looking to hire another person to help install lights at our client's home or business. I want to make sure we have everything in place before making the first hire. Awesome. Love to see that you're growing the company there, Michelle. Okay. In a perfect world, it's great to have a handbook. Is it required? No. But what I would recommend is that you create a 30-day onboarding training process that you're going to follow, and it's laid out day by day, week by week for the first month. I would recommend that anything that you're going to have that hire do for your company, that you document in the form of video or in writing or both, the process that they can continue to go back to if they can't remember how you train them to do it. Because remember, some people learn visually, some people learn by reading, and some people learn by doing. Some people learn by all three mechanisms. So we want to provide that type of training to set our new team member up for success. There's a software that we recommend here at AO. It's called Trainual, www.trainual.com. And it is a software that you can use to create training modules for all of your processes in your company, so that when you hire somebody and they say, well, I can't remember how to do this, they can just log into their account on Trainual, and the video and the training and everything is right there. And this is so helpful, especially to startup entrepreneurs, because as startup entrepreneurs, we're already wearing a lot of hats. So the last thing we want is somebody coming to us after we've already shown them how to do it, and now they're asking for help on how to do it again. Believe it or not, this is very frustrating to most startup entrepreneurs, and this is the reason why they lose a lot of their first hires, because they don't know how to manage that process. Then they get frustrated. They go, I showed you how to do it. Why don't you just remember how to do it? Well, I'm not a robot, man. I got, sometimes I forget things. So it's great to be able to refer people to an online training process and system along the way. The discount code for you as an AO member is AO number 10, AO10, and that gets you 10% off the Trainual subscription. It's only like $100 a month, a little less than $100 with a discount, and it is a lifesaver. If you can create a great system and training process for your new team members, this will save you so much money and time and aggravation, because as we grow our companies, the only challenges, or the biggest challenge that we will always have, no matter how small or big our companies get, it's our team and team building and culture and processes. If you can develop a habit of creating these processes and a great onboarding plan to guarantee or give yourself the best chance of success with a new team member, you're going to save yourself so much time and energy and money. All right? Hope that helps, Michelle. Obviously, you also want to know what legal information you need as far as a W-4 or a W-9, a copy of their driver's license. You want to figure out what type of information in your state from a human resources file that you should have on every employee. You want to make sure that you lock that in a locked drawer. There are certain laws that you do want to abide by. I'm not an HR specialist, but I am going to make sure that Marcia, our HR mentor here at AO, I'm going to make sure she answers this from a legality HR perspective. There's so much you need to know. And in fact, in the Resource Center, in the AO portal, there's actually the O'Connor Group. There's in the Resource Center, look for the category O'Connor Group, and she put a lot of HR information in that category as far as resources. Go through all those resources. All right. Hope that helps. Have a great day. Keep me posted, and I hope it goes awesome. Okay, the next question, and this is the last question, comes from Liv, and Liv says, how do you pay yourself from your business? The background is, I'm going to start paying myself, and I want to know the best way to do it. Should I be paid as a W-2 employee, 1099 contractor, or is there another strategy? Our company's an LLC. Well, there you go. Isn't that the ultimate mecca that we're looking to when we start a company, to finally someday start being able to pay ourselves? Okay, so there's no one way to do this, but so I'm just going to throw out a lot of different strategies, and a lot of this came from when I started my last company as well. Ultimately, the goal is to someday get to where you do put yourself on payroll, W-2. And that all depends on cash flow. If you have enough cash flow that you can budget in the company to pay yourself, and I'm just going to throw out an arbitrary number of let's say it's $2,000 a month. The company sets you up because they know that they can afford to now put you on a salary from the indefinite future of $2,000 a month. Put yourself on W-2, and there's a lot of reasons around this. This is going to help you with your taxes. It'll help you if you have to go get a home loan. Banks and the crediting areas out there in the world, they love W-2 income better than self-employed income, unless you've been self-employed for years and you're making great money and your tax returns can show it. W-2, they look at your own personal income as well, okay? So one of the great things about W-2 income is then the company can share the burden of paying your Social Security and your Medicare taxes. If you pay yourself as a 1099 person, you have to pay self-employment taxes, and that costs you as an individual more money. I definitely, in all of this, I would consult an accountant to give you some recommendations and understanding of the different tax consequences of W-2 versus 1099. But ideally, you want to get to where you can pay yourself as a W-2. And what you can do is set yourself a baseline of W-2, and then on those months where there's more cash flow in the company, and you can say, hey, I've got more cash than I know what to do with. I'd like to have more money myself. Just add more money in the form of a bonus on your paycheck. And you can enter that if you use QuickBooks. You can enter that in your payroll. Just give yourself a bonus, or just increase your pay for that pay period. So those are all kinds of things that you can do. Or if you wanted to, you can go ahead and just pay yourself as a 1099. just remember that you want to make sure that you take a look at whether or not you need to file self-employment taxes and pay quarterly. And that is going to cost you more as a self-employed individual, but those are things to take into consideration. But in my experience, it's always best to get to a place as soon as possible where you can budget out a W-2 income and then just pay yourself more each month when the company allows. Okay, hope that helps. There's all kinds of things you can get into later about dividends and distributions and all those types of things. But as you get to that point, if you have more questions, just feel free to ask. Okay? Well, that's today's mentor session. I hope you guys got some value out of this mentor session. Keep the questions coming. Remember, there's no bad questions. Whenever you think, I wonder what the answer to this would be, that's what myself and the other mentors are here for. If you ask questions, I promise you that over time, we're going to save you time and money and by helping you avoid mistakes that you would otherwise make if you didn't let us share our experiences with you. And our job as a mentor for you is not to tell you what to do, but to share our experiences. And each mentor has their own experiences and their own style and their own way of doing things. And that's why I'm not only going to answer your question, but you're going to get your answer from several mentors. And then you, as the business owner, you get to decide what answer is most applicable to your life and your situation, and then you make the decision. We just want to share as much information as we can to help you avoid all the mistakes that we made when we started our companies. And if we can help you avoid those mistakes, that's what we're here for. All right? Hope you have a great day, morning, or night, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you on the next mentor session. Have a great day. Peace out.